Good evening. Hello there. It's Monday, 26th of February, and it's time for our weekly live session. Welcome. I'm just going to check our settings. So when you arrive, just drop me a comment. Let me know you're here and where you're from. Just give me 1 second. Check how we're doing. Let's have a look. There we go. Right. Hi Fran, good to see you. First one in this evening. How are you? Hi Doreen. Welcome, welcome. So Doreen, did you have snow today? Because you're a bit further east in the UK than I am. We had a light dusting throughout the day, but never really amounted to much. Heathfield, that's right. You're doing fine, Fran. That's great. Whereabouts are you joining us from, Fran? I meant to ask last week, but forgot. So yes, we had some snow today. Apparently we're forecasting snow, more snow in the next couple of days. So we'll see how the weather goes. I live sort of in the countryside, so flurries, but nothing laid during. Yeah, that's about the same here. Let's see what what's it called? The beast from the east. Let's see what it brings us tomorrow and the next day. Hi Lucy from the USA, welcome. What time is it there where you are? It's 8 o'clock in the evening here, but I'm not sure what the time difference is. So yes, this evening, what are we going to do? Tonight I'm going to do some different fun backgrounds for you. So the cards themselves, the layouts are pretty similar and pretty simple, but I'm going to do noon, lunchtime, 3 o'clock where you are, Fran, so you're in the States as well then, presumably. Cool. So yeah, we're going to do some, very cold. Yeah, it's freezing out in the conservatory where I am this evening. I've had the extra gas heater on to keep me warm. So yeah, we're going to do some backgrounds. We've got some fun background techniques. So I'm going to do some baby wipe technique. I'm going to do the bouquet technique. I'm going to have a little fun watercolouring technique for you. And what else have I got? Oh yes, I've got a really cool technique. I don't know what it's called, but swiping, I suppose, for want of a better word. But we'll get there. So let's get started. We've got a couple of people in, so yeah, let's get going. So the first card I want to do, just 1 second, is, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago I made some cards with this. This is our Painted with Love designer series paper, and I made it with this particular pattern here. And I've seen a couple of ideas from other demonstrators and online about how to create this look for yourself. So I thought I'd give it a go, because that means then you can kind of create it in whatever colour scheme you want and with whatever inks you like. And then when you run out of the DSP, you can make your own. So the colours that I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to do quite a muted sort of a colour scheme. So I'm going to do sort of like browns and taupe. So we're going to use Sahara Sand, Crumb Cake, Early Espresso and Soft Suede. Okay, so I'm just going to open up these ink pads like so. Tombow USA. Yeah, you're the glue that holds it all together. Right, got our Crumb Cake and Sahara Sand. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to bring in my pieces. So I've just got a piece of Very Vanilla here. Let me put that over there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, hi Lynn, good to have you with us. You're just in time, I'm about to start the first card. So I'm going to put a bit of scrap paper down. So all I'm going to do is, starting with the lightest colour, I'm just going to take the corner of my ink pad and I'm just going to swipe it across my paper like so. So you can see. Do a few that way as well. Okay, so can you see? All right, and I'm just going to repeat that, gradually getting darker. Okay, layering it on. Okay, and then we've got our soft suede. Hi Jessica, welcome. Okay, so we're going to add a bit of soft suede in here. Okay, and then finally a little bit of our early espresso. Okay, I don't want to add too much. I just want to kind of get the look. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. But we're missing a vital ingredient, and that's the bling. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just close these up. I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad, and I'm going to use my copper, where is it? My copper embossing powder, and I'm just going to do the same with my Versamark. I'm just going to swipe it. So you see there it's gone a bit sparkly, a bit shiny. All right. And then I'm just going to take my embossing powder and just basically fling it all on. Okay. Whoop. Give it a good flick. There we go. Now you can see that I've knocked my embossing powder everywhere, so I'm just going to brush that up. 1 second. Where did I put the tub? There it is. Because I don't want embossing powder all over my work surface. There we go. Just and then we'll add that in as well. There we are. Okay. Put the lid on my embossing powder so I don't spill it everywhere. Oh, feels like coffee grounds. Alright, so let's bring back in our piece of cardstock. I'm just cleaning it up a little bit because I don't want quite as much on there as I can see. I just want some hints. So I'm just taking my paintbrush and getting rid of some of the extra. Okay, I'll bring my heat tool. So excuse the noise for a minute while I do this. Let's wait for the magic. There we go. And this is quite thick, so you can see it's taking a moment to get going. Okay, but once it goes, we get that gorgeous shimmer. Thanks, Lucy. I love it when you guys share. There we go, almost done. Cool. There we go. So now, if you see, we've got a gorgeous copper. It's not quite the same as this one, but you can see where we were going with it. Cool. I really like how that's turned out. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this onto a piece of copper cardstock or foil, and then I'm going to layer it onto an early espresso base. Okay, but before I do that, I want to do my sentiment. So I'm going to bring in some very vanilla, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment in early espresso. I'm going to use our Truly Tailored stamp set, which is one that's been, I've had it for a little while, but I haven't managed to break it out just yet. So let's see, we'll do to a classy kind of guy. You like it better, Lucy, not a pink. I'm not normally a pink one, but I don't know what my favourite colours are really, to be honest. It changes. At the moment I can't seem to put Lemon Lime Twist down. Step away from the ink pad. Right, so we're just going to stamp this in Early Espresso onto our scrap of Very Vanilla. There we go. I think my ink pad needs re-inking by the looks of it. Okay, and then we'll just take our coordinating punch and punch that out. But I want this to be laid on copper, so I'm just going to punch some copper out of the centre here, because no one will ever know. It just saves me breaking into another piece of my foil. Okay, now so that this layers onto this properly with a nice border, what I'm going to do is just quickly trim around the outside here. It's very easy because it's a nice small shape with straight lines, so very easy to do. I love this shape. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this one once I really get going with it. There we go. Okay, so then we have that. Alright, so we're going to just stick that down with some glue. Get rid of the gunk. Alright. Whoop. When you're sticking down onto foil, the foil is quite slippery, so you just got to be a little bit careful. Okay, I just want some dimensionals on the back of here. Put that away, and then we're just going to glue this down to our foil. Here we go. Yeah, Lucy, fussy cutting is not my thing. Really not my thing. So straight lines I can just about do, as long as they're not too long. Right, so just going to do that. And then it just needs one more touch. I know it's quite a male looking card, but I think I'm going to add some of our copper ribbon to it just to give it a little bit of extra. Okay, so we're just going to stick this down. Thanks, Fran. That's what I was kind of going for, is it? Because the Painted with Love paper is gorgeous, but it's just so girly. Whereas this is really just the complete opposite. There we go. Okay. And then I want him down here. I'm going to put it right in the center. And I'm going to just open this. I love this ribbon, the way just you can open it out like this. There we go. I think this would go great with our mermaid set. I think this would make a fabulous accent for any kind of nautical sort of a card as well, because it's got that kind of, looks a bit like fishnet. Alright, so now we're just going to pop a bit of snail on the back here. Yeah, I do hope this ribbon stays. It's just a lot of fun. So let's see how we go with this. In fact, I might do it that way. That might work better. That's true, Lucy. We might need to change the greeting up a little bit. Not classy kind of guy, but yeah, it's really gorgeous. Browns aren't just for boys, are they? Yeah, this copper ribbon really is a lot of fun. There we go. Let's crimp it a little bit. There. And there we have it. Very own Painted with Love type designer series paper. Cool. Thanks, Rita. Thank you. So that's card number 1. Alright, so we're just going to put that away and tidy up. So for the next card, what are we going to do? I think I'm trying to think in terms of what gets messier as we go along. I'm thinking of inky fingers and all of that, but we're going to get messy tonight with the projects I've got in mind. So, alrighty, here we go. Let's make some space. So let's see what's next. Let's do... I'm going to do the watercolouring one next, okay? Oh, lots of smiley faces. Thank you. I love those. Thank you very much. Right. So this one is a bit more pink, ladies, a bit more girly, but hopefully you'll still like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp a background of these balloons here, okay? And then you'll see what I'm going to do with them later. So we've got Flirty Flamingo, Melon Mambo, Bermuda Bay, and some Daffodil Delight. Okay, and I've just got the 2 balloon images from this super duper stamp set. This is one of those sets that I really like, but I don't use it as often as I should do. I love the really big greetings on here, and actually we're going to use this one. You're not messy, creative Doreen. I used to be like that. And then I've just noticed on my paper, can you see here? It's my son's maths homework from during the week or at the weekend. This is workings. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly stamp my balloons in various different colours. All over the back. Let's clean those up. I'll add in some Melon Mambo. And then finally the Bermuda Bay. Now, that's kind of cute as it is, right? It's kind of cool, but I'm going to do something a little bit different with it. I'm going to take my aqua painter. Let's just make sure that it's not got any colour on it. And I'm just going to colour over them. So making sure that I do it one of the colours at a time. So I get more of a kind of a watercolory effect. A baby card, Fran, I didn't think of that. That's a good idea. Okay, so that's that. And then we'll move on to the Daffodil Delight. So you can see I'm not being terribly careful about staying inside the lines. I'm just blending that colour so they look more like a watercolour. This cardstock is watercolour cardstock because I'm adding water to it. Now I think if you used our thick Whisper White, because we're not adding lots of water to it, I think it would work too. But because I'm doing a lot of images, I thought it's safer to use the watercolour paper. So we've taken what's quite a graphic looking balloon, and we're just spreading the colour. Whoop. Create a softer effect. Okay, and then onto the Bermuda Bay. I'm not normally an aqua kind of girl, but I do love this colour. I think it's a bit like yellow. It can really give a project a real pop, which is cool. All right. There you go. Shimmer cardstock would work too, that's right. Okay, so we're done with that. So now you can see that we've got a much, much lighter image on there, or should I say more softer watercolor image. But I'm going to bring back some of the detail onto it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to stamp over again onto my balloons, like so. just to add back in some of that detail. Here we go. So I'm just going to do it for the Bermuda Bay and the Melon Mambo. Here we go. So it just gives a little bit of extra interest. Okay, and then got to put some Wink of Stella on it, don't we? So let's just add just a few hints here and there, like so. Be careful when moving from colour to colour that you don't carry it, because your Wink of Stella pen will take some of that colour onto it and you can transfer it. Yeah, do you know what, Fran? As I was doing it, I thought, do you know what? This would have been much easier to do with photopolymer stamps. I didn't really think that one through as much as I should have, but hey-ho. They're pretty straightforward images. It's not too bad. Okay, there we go. So that's that. I'm going to leave that for 1 second. Okay, we'll just close these up so I don't have an accident. Alright, and then I'm going to take the big Happy Birthday to You sentiment. Okay. And I'm going to ink that up in black. And because I've watercolored this and it's a little bit damp, I'm just going to use my StazOn black, just to be sure that we don't get any bleeding or anything like that. Okay. Go. I'm just going to stamp this right across the center and hope that it's straight. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. Whoops. Close up the StazOn. Right. So now all I'm going to do is just glue this onto some Bermuda Bay. Like so. Okay, and I'm going to put that onto a Flirty Flamingo card base. There we go. Now, I think in an ideal world, I would have waited a little bit longer to stamp that down and I would have gotten a better image there. But I think that worked out pretty well. Look at that, the nice little shimmer. So yeah, there's a nice girly, even though it's got the Bermuda Bay. I really like that. So that's a great way to just get a little bit of extra dimension with your stamps. So that's card number 2. Let's tidy that one up. That was really easy, that one. And it's so easy to create your own backing papers with your stamp sets. You just pick the images in there. Yes, Lucy, that's on the same. I love having it where you've just got the sentiment or the paper and that kind of does all the hard work for you rather than having to fiddle about too much. But then I do like making my own backgrounds as well, because that's probably one of the main reasons why I don't have as much, or I have as much unused designer series paper as I do, because it's just too pretty to use, so I make my own. Right, so next card we're going to do is, I'm going to do the bouquet technique. And for anyone who hasn't seen it before, it's basically supposed to look like viewing an image through a soft focus lens. Okay, so we're going to do some sponging here. Okay, let me just want to get my ink pads, 1 second. So what have we got? We want turquoise. So we want Tempting Turquoise, Lemon Lime Twist. Thanks, Deborah, you're from the States as well. Welcome. We want Island Indigo. And what other colour did I have? I want some I'm going to do some pool party. Which is there. And pool party. Okay, so I'm just going to, first of all, open up my pads. Alright, and I'm going to just lay down some colour. So when I'm sponging, inking, stamping or doing backgrounds or anything, I do always like to start with the lightest colour first and then add in the darker colours after that. So I'm going to start with the pool party. Okay. What am I making, Heather? We're just doing backgrounds mostly. So right now we're doing the bouquet technique. I think that's how it's pronounced, bouquet. And this gives a really nice soft look. So what you need to make sure of is that when you're sponging is that you make sure to put down plenty of colour because we're going to be covering this up. So I'm just putting the light colour all over. So this is pool party. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with the, yes, that's the right way around, the turquoise next. Okay. And I'm not too worried about blending too much because, again, like I say, we're going to cover a lot of this up. So I just want to get a good, strong mix of colours. I'm going to add plenty of Island Indigo because I want it quite dark. Forgive me if the camera's shaking, I can see the table shaking a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to take lemon lime twist. Let's add this in. You can see I'm just being quite random about it. There we go, and I think I want a little bit more turquoise. There we go. So that on its own is a really cool background, right? Could leave it like that, but we're going to go one step further. So I'm just going to close these ink pads up, and I'm going to bring in my white craft ink, which is this one here. Okay, and then what I've done is I've taken my various different sized hole punches and just in a piece of regular copier paper punched out different sizes. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly place these over my background and just add the white over the top. Ah, Lucy, blues and greens. I knew you'd like them. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to add them randomly. And you can add as much or as little of the white as you like, depending on how intense you want it. So again, like anything, I start with the big ones. Whoops. Okay. And then I've got quite a big one, which I'm going to pop over here. Now I'm doing it quite randomly, but you could do a pattern with yours. Okay, I'm just going to keep going back and doing circles of different sizes, making sure that some of them go off the edge. It's important to get that nice for getting that random look. Okay, I'm going to put one here. And then we've got a smaller one here. And you can overlap them as well if you want. You can overlap your circles, like so. And you can cover up as much or as little as your background as you like. Okay. Do a tiny one here. And again, you could use all sorts of colours for this one, depending on what you've got and what your personal preference is. But you can see that it doesn't take all that long to do it, really. There we go, let's have a look. I think, to me, what really finishes it off are the small circles. So I tend to do those a little bit more intensely than the big ones. Okay, so there we go. Cool, I like that. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second, right? Just let that craft ink dry a little bit. You could set it with your heat tool if you wanted to, but I think we should be all right. So now we're going to do our greeting. So let's get to our card. So I've got an Island Indigo card base. Okay. And then we've got a lemon lime twist, and that here. And what I've done is I've taken the Amazing You stamp set from Celebration and the coordinating die, and I've die cut the word amazing, which I'm just going to put on there. And then I've got a little strip here, and I'm just going to stamp in Island Indigo. So you are simply amazing. Okay, so let's get our ink blocks. Okay. That's it. And then I'm just going to snip them. Just going to cut quite close to the words. And then we can start to assemble. So I'm going to pop these up on dimensionals. So I'm going to get my mini dimensionals and pop them on the back here. Okay. And then I'm just going to get my fine tip glue pen, and I'm being careful with this because, again, if I wasn't on film, I'd leave this to dry a little bit longer. I don't want my craft ink to smear, so and with this I'm just putting tiny drops. Don't need a lot. So can you see that I'm just putting tiny little drops, because if you put too much on here, what will happen is when you stick it down, the glue will just ooze out, and you don't really want that. It's a bit unsightly. Okay, so I'm not even squeezing the bottle as I do this, I'm just letting it come out by itself. Okay, and then just lay it down. Give it a minute to stick. There we are. And then just put the lid back. Always replace the lid on your fine tip glue pen straight away, otherwise that very fine nozzle will gloop up. And it's not that easy to unclog. Here we go. So just lay that. Ooh, hearts this time. I like it. You guys are liking this one by the looks of it. Thank you. There we go. And then again, so you can see the layouts of these cards I'm keeping really, really simple because I really want the background to shine. You know, if you've put effort into your background, you really want to make that sing and be the focal point of your card. So there we go. Ta-da! Bokeh technique. Cool. I think I'm going to give this one to my son. I was thinking I might put some rhinestones on it, but I'm going to give it to my son, so I'm going to keep it just as it is. So there we go, card number 3. We're nearly onto our last card. So let's clear away some of this mess. Ooh, more hearts. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Okay, let's put that back in there. So last is probably the messiest of the techniques, and that is the baby wipe technique. Okay, so what I've got here is I've just got a couple of baby wipes, wet wipes. Okay, now you can do this on any kind of flat surface. I just have this very handy little container left over from when my son was little. We used it for carrying our wet wipes around when we used them for wiping up children and not crafting. He's 10 now, so I don't really need to do that anymore. And then we're going to bring in our re-inkers. Okay. Thanks, Doreen. It is a very effective technique and it's surprisingly easy to do. Right, so for this one, we're going to stick with pinks, Lucy. Sorry about that, but hopefully you should enjoy it. So I've got fresh fig, some wild wasabi, some Sahara sand. What's that one? Had it so long, that's pink pirouette, and we've got some melon mambo. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to put a few drops of ink onto our wet wipe. Now I'm not going to make a huge area because the stamp that I'm going to use is not enormous. Okay, and when you're doing this technique, it's best to use a solid image. The crafters have kept baby wipes in business. You're probably quite right. That and kitchen towel and all sorts of other stuff that we find around the house and use. So we'll just add the various colours until they all blend together. Okay. And then what I tend to do with the baby wipe technique is kind of normally when I'm doing backgrounds, I start with light and add in dark. But when I'm doing the baby wipe, I actually do it the other way around. So I'll fill in the gaps and the areas with the pink, with the lightest shade. And that means then I can kind of ease down, or what's the word I'm looking for? Soften the colours. Okay, so that's my ink pad. Now the thing is that if you could use a stamp case like this, which I've done before, and you can actually close this up and reuse it. You don't have to throw it away after just one use. Okay, so let's bring in our piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to do some random stamping all over the back, but I'm going to use the Flourishing Phrases stamp set, and I'm going to use this flower image from it here. Okay, put that on there. So what you want to do is take your stamp and just smush it into your wet wipes like so. So you can see I've got colour on there, and then just stamp it down and you get this gorgeous variegated look. See? And then we just keep on smushing, and each one is going to be different. I'm just going to cover this completely. And you can add in, so for example, if you wanted a little bit more red or a little bit more green in here, you can just keep adding to your temporary ink pad. And there we go, look at that. Isn't that cool? And this will last you for ages. I could probably make a dozen or so cards with this without really having to re-ink very much. So I'm going to close that up, and I can use that again. That will last for a little while. Okay? So that's easy. That's the baby wipe technique. It's dead simple. And I didn't get too messy either, which is really good. Okay? So I'm just going to, again, keeping the layout simple. Yeah, I do like a bit of green. Sometimes it just helps to bring the colours together. So even if it doesn't show, it's just a nice accent in there. So I'm going to layer that onto some fresh fig cardstock, like that. Okay, and then we're going to do and then I'm just going to put it on a piece of white, like so. So I've got make sure I've got my card base, the green saved it, just a tidge of green in there for you, Lucy, so it's not too pinky. So I've got a 10 to fold card here. Okay, so now I'm just going to get a little scrap, and what am I going to? I'm going to do the just a note sentiment, and I'm going to stamp that in fresh fig, which I will just go get. Actually, do you know what? I had an idea. 1 second. 1 second. Let's see if this will work. What if I stamped it on here? Okay, and then did this on the back. Okay, and then if I took my tag punch that I used earlier, did that. Okay, and then let's get a scrap of fig. Yeah. Yeah, I love the sentiments in flourishing phrases, Deborah, and I do love the just a note one too. Right, so I'm going to trim this a little. There. So they've just got a hint. And trim it a little bit more. There we go. Cool. So I'm just trimming this down so that I get the kind of border that I want all around it. It doesn't have to be exact. There we go. Okay. And then, ooh, look at that. And then I'm going to get some green ribbon. Just 1 second. Alrighty. Improvising here. I hadn't thought much further on than the technique, so now I'm just working out how to finish it off. So let's just add a little bit of ribbon. There we go. Yeah, I like that. Alright, I'm going to get some dimensionals. Put that on there. And then again, just some glue. Onto our card base. Let's make sure it's the right way around. There we go. Look at that. Okay, and on this one, I am going to add just a few, just add a little bit of extra sparkle to it. I'm just going to add a few rhinestones to the center of the flowers, if I can get it off my finger. There we go. You think it's pretty, Lucy, even with all that pink? Thank you. Ooh, more hearts. Lovely. I love hearts. They make me happy. There we go. Look at that. So cool. And just think, as I say, you could just do lots and lots and lots of these. You could just stamp up a couple of full-sized sheets of Whisper White cardstock and just cut them up as you wanted. But yeah, that worked out really cool. So there we go. So that's our last card for this evening. What time are we at? Oh, we're doing all right for time, actually. Last week I went over the hour. It was quite a long time. So let me clear some space. And let's bring in our other cards. And then I want you guys to let me know which are your favourites. So we've got, oh, thanks, Doreen. So we've got Baby Wipe Technique. We've got the Bouquet Technique. Don't worry, Deb. We've got the, I'm not sure what to call that. Watercolouring your images. If anybody can think of a name for that one, then let me know. Okay, and then we've got the, this one here where I created the, same as the Painted with Love designer series paper. So there we go. So there are 4 cards, and you can see the layouts themselves are really, really simple, because when you've got a good, strong background, you don't need to do anything else. You just need to add a little something, a sentiment or a bit of ribbon or something, and your card is done. So there we go. Can you see all 4? Let's make sure. Tell you what, let's pull the camera up slightly. There we go, so we can get them all in. Right, so votes, ladies. Which are your favourites? Ooh, lots of hearts. Thank you all. Thank you very much. What do I think? I think this one is my favourite. Doreen, I always try and make it hard to choose. Imagine how hard it is to give these away. The embossed, yeah. The bouquet and the baby wipe. Definitely try the techniques, have a go at them. Send me pictures of what you've made. I'd love to see what you make. It'd be really cool. So there we are. That's it for this week. I don't think I've got any other news for you this week. Oh, except to remind you that Wednesday is the last day that you can take advantage of my 5% off your order offer to celebrate my 5 years as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So make sure to visit my website, my online shop, and see what you want, and then email me your order. What else? That's it, really. I'll have the blog post up in the next couple of days with all of the dimensions and supplies and everything for you. Definitely watch the replay if you missed the beginning. That's cool. I'll have it on my YouTube channel in a little while. And I will see you all again next Monday. So thank you all for joining me. It's been wonderful fun. And I'll see you all again next week. Bye.